All right, meteorologist Jamie Singleton here, and we are still looking at severe weather. Let me get my camera a little bit. Properties. See me a little better here. Okay. Numerous warnings have now come out. So if you were watching the update around 1 o'clock or 1:30, I kept on the air till about 2 o'clock. Now we've got more warnings that are out right now. So let's get right to them. We first have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for much of southern Floyd County through Carroll County and going into western Patrick County. There's also a flash flood warning, and a big one that covers much of southwest Franklin County down the Blue Ridge Parkway, western Patrick County, some area that severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for. You see the polygons there on your screen. That continues down into North Carolina. Severe thunderstorm or a flash flood warning continues in western Smith County. We've also got flash flooding around Boone, Blowing Rock, and West Jefferson into North Carolina. So that's a look at the radar picture, and you can see that this moisture continues moving in. We had that one line that has now dissipated because it outran the energy of the system. It's now from Appomattox up in the Nelson County and Albemarle County. We've got the second areas that will continue developing over the next several hours, and so the system is going to continue to generate these lines of severe thunderstorms, lots of wind as well. Also a severe thunderstorm warning up around Beckley, north of Beckley, West Virginia, where there's been several reports of wind damage. And I want to mention several reports of wind damage down through southwest Virginia as well in that area. So let me go to our current image right now, and I'm going to pull up, let's see, we'll do this one first. So it's this cell, this is Floyd County. Let me zoom out to get your bearings here. Quickly, I will mention that we've got a report of a tree down. We had that a little while ago. I'm not sure if it's been cleared up yet in Henry County near Fielddale. Tree down across both lanes of William F. Stone Highway near the intersection with Dillon's Fork Road. That occurred at 1:42 this morning. Because the winds are straight line winds coming down with these. We haven't had any tornado threats yet. We've had straight line wind damage. And I want to also go off the screen here a little bit. You see all these icons right here? This is in eastern Kentucky around Jackson, down through extreme southwest Virginia. Phone poles have been snapped, power poles snapped, power outages, trees down all over the place through here. And this is just the wind that we've been talking about at about 5,000 feet getting down to the ground. I no longer see the severe thunderstorm warning up. Let's see, although it is up, so I'm trying to figure out what's happened there. Unless it's expired already. And it has. That storm has now, you can see how it developed quickly here into Mount Airy, and now it's moved and morphed into more of just a heavy rain threat. So that warning is now not in effect, but we do have the flash flood warning in effect, and I'll read that for you. Northwestern Surrey County, eastern Wilkes County, Carroll County, southwest Franklin County, central Patrick County until 8:45. That's for this big area right through here. And in this area, I'll put up the KDP. This shows me where we've seen the really heavy downpours, and really isn't lit up all that much at the moment, but it's just raining here over and over. So at 2:40, they've got up the 3 inches of rain reported. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. I want to mention that I do think the flooding is going to be perhaps worse than we thought just a day ago. Because it's really coming in as a lot of heavy rain right now. And again, we've seen some embedded severe thunderstorms bringing down some high wind, but the flooding and the straight line wind threat's the big issue right now. Now, the tornado threat will continue to go up through about 8 o'clock this morning, and maybe even 9 or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock this morning. Mount Airy, North Wilkesboro, Elkin, Wilkesboro, Flat Rock, Dobson, and Rhonda. under the threat for this flash flooding. Now we've also got a flash flood warning in effect for western Allegheny County and eastern Watauga County, Ashe County, and northwest North Carolina until 8:30 a.m. on Monday. Indicated thunderstorms at 2:23 on the radar. Several inches of rain, another 1 to 3 inches possible in that warned area. So some areas are going to be getting in on up to 6 inches of rain. Now, as we go into the live lightning, I want to show you that. We're going to turn off our precip estimate here. And we're going to go to just reflectivity here. Let me go to level 2. That's Ville, and that doesn't look pretty at all. Let's see. Not sure what's going on with the radar. We'll go to level 3 then. Okay, here we go. And our live lightning is on, but there's not a lot of it right now. We had some earlier. There's some in Henry County. Got a few strikes out here. And again, that's near where we also earlier had the thunderstorm wind damage moving on in. So we've got not a lot of lightning, just a bunch of heavy rain at the moment, but there is lightning off to the south. There's also a tornado watch that's also up now for Statesville, North Carolina, down through North Carolina. Let's see, this is in effect. It's not a PDS one, but it is, let's see, in effect until 8 o'clock this morning. All right. You can also see numerous tornado warnings now in effect for the upstate of South Carolina, numerous flash flood warnings in effect around Asheville. This is where Toccoa, Georgia right now, going into Anderson, South Carolina, Greenville, the Greenville-Spartanburg area under the tornado watch, and now tornado warnings moving into the area. Not seeing a lot of tornadic activity again locally here. So again, that's somewhat good news, but it's also bad in another respect, because what's good news in one respect is going to be bad news for other locations. It'll be bad news in a different way because, as I mentioned, straight line winds cover a large area, where a tornado just affects like a little neighborhood. Straight line winds are going to cover a lot of where you're at, and so chances are you may lose power and you may see a lot of damage out there. And I'm looking at all this rain, and it just continues to develop and pour down in here. So will the rain overtake the severe tornado threat? It could, meaning that it would shift more to a straight line wind and flash flooding threat. But still, the Storm Prediction Center has, I'll put on the convective outlook here, they've got that enhanced risk still from Danville to Lynchburg, and the slight risk going through Rocky Mount and Lexington. So areas east of here, and we'll turn the radar off for a second. So this is today's outlook right now. And through here, I think they're considering extending that tornado watch as well. So it may get right up against North Carolina. So Rockingham County, you may be under a tornado watch here very soon. But the tornado threat's expected to kind of jump up as we go into the next several hours from the mountains eastward, okay? So I would say the lowest threat of tornadoes is in the Allegheny Highlands, although I could not rule it out anywhere, and in the Mountain Empire. And then once we get east of the Parkway, we're going to start to see the tornado threat ramp up here after, say, 5 o'clock in the morning, more than likely. I can put on here, I want to do this anyway to look at it. Take the convective outlook off, and we're going to put on some mesoanalysis data. I want to look at available energy. This is the Cape. Now, if you remember yesterday, this was all down to the south, and I told you it would be moving north, and indeed that's what's happening. So now we're starting to see the red areas creep into the mountainous areas around Tazewell County, Smith County. We've got some Cape out there. We've got some surface energy to work with. And if we go a little bit higher, we've also got it creeping in the south side at different levels of the atmosphere just above the ground. Winds are continuing to gust out there now up to 25, 30 miles per hour is some of this. We're seeing that high level wind we were telling you about yesterday. It's now over us. If you go up to just 5,000 feet in the atmosphere, winds are blowing between 70 and 75 miles per hour. That's Category 1 hurricane at just a few thousand feet up. So it's going to take a little bit of wind and a little bit of heavy rain to bring that down to the surface, and you can bet there's going to be some damage today just from these straight line winds. If we go to the Energy Helicity Index, this takes into account where the air is unstable and where we've got the wind shear, and you want to see values, or you don't want to see them around 1 or 2, because that's when we're typically going to see the tornadic activity. You see how that lines right up with our tornado watch. This is what the Storm Prediction Center is going to be continuing to watch as we go through the morning hours. This is expected to also creep northward with time, and you can maybe see that here if I loop this. We'll see if that animates a little bit. And you can see the lightning animating there on your screen. You can see the latest Energy Helicity Index, and you can see it there updating a couple of images. It's creeping north, but it will surge north more than likely over the next several hours. This is the significant tornado parameter, if it'll load here, and it's off the charts already around Charlotte and Asheville. We talked about that yesterday about it getting into western North Carolina in the early morning hours, and you see how it's just so high here. It's up around 6 right now, and again 1 to 2 is significant. So it's at 6 across Greenville and Spartanburg where tornado warnings are in effect, but even across Asheville. Down in the North Carolina mountains, it's getting up around 1 near the Boone and Avery County area. And then as you go into Winston-Salem down to Charlotte, it's nearing end on half, 0.5 to 1. And again, that would be the line where we start to worry about severe thunderstorms. And just now we've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect with a tornado possible for the Hickory, North Carolina area. That's getting right up against the Blacksburg area. So again, over the next 30 minutes, things are going to get a little haywire here. We're going to start to really to ramp things up. Supercell Composite's a very similar tool that we're using, and that also shows us what's going on there. So let me go back to my radar here. We'll turn on the level 2 and see if we have a decent image there coming out of Blacksburg, and we do. So that's good news. The live scan is activated with this, and I'm going to pick out, see if I can pick out a better palette with this. Let's see. Color palette. Tell you what, I'll do that in a second when I'm not on the air here. Got a new special weather statement out. You see that area here in the red? That's for let's see, Stokes County. Yeah, southwest Stokes County. We've got a severe thunderstorm, or a possible developing severe thunderstorm moving northeast at 65 miles per hour, winds in excess of 30 miles an hour. Just got a new wind report in. Tree down on Dillon's Fork Road, partially blocking the lane. So lots of trees are falling as we speak across the area. If you look at the velocity data, it is again off the charts because the radar beam, because the earth is round, goes out straight and inherently gets into the higher levels of the clouds. You don't have to go too high up before you get into 55 to 65 to 75 to now 85, 88 mile per hour winds at about 3,000 feet. That is significant. And I'm looking at the actual winds gusting here out of the Hillsville airport at up to 39 miles per hour. I'm looking at some other reports here, so just kind of bear with me. Roanoke is not really gusting all that much. We had a 30 mile per hour gust in Rocky Mount earlier as that moved in. Do not see any rotation. That's the only good news I have for you this morning, is right now there is no rotation, but that is going to be changing. And I believe my GR analyst here is getting tired of me clicking through it, but it's going to be one of those mornings. Let me put this into motion. You can see that we had that one severe thunderstorm warning very quickly right there. And there was a little bit of rotation with it. You can see why they put it up right there. Had a little bit of a spin, and now it's over Floyd, but it weakened. So these possible tornadoes may spin up in a real quick hurry, and then they'll die off in a real quick hurry. They're going to be hard to detect on radar, I'll tell you that right now. Getting a brand new scan in here. You can see heavier rain now working out of Franklin County. And again, you've got the severe thunderstorms coming out of North Carolina into western North Carolina now, with flash flood warnings in effect as well. Pretty much, I'm not going to be posting every flash flood warning or flood advisory because simply I'm not going to have time to. They're going to auto post to my Twitter page and to my Facebook page. I will be going, on the air every 30 minutes or so to give you updates on what will be happening. So check the latest video for that. I'm going to jump off real quick here. I'll be back on at 4 a.m.